Right, mate, I believe every man who struggles with nice guy syndrome and people pleasing and assertiveness and a fear of conflict, all that stuff, I believe any man who struggles with all that should practice a martial art on the regular. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why that is, and I'm going to tell you why, if you're not currently practicing a martial art and you're someone who struggles with his own assertiveness, aggression, conflict, etc., you struggle to assert yourself, why you should absolutely start training a martial art today, or at the very least tomorrow. Now, let me just tell you a little bit of my background with this. And if we've never met before, my name is Oliver. On this channel, I like to help men conquer nice guy syndrome, conquer people pleasing, become authentic, become confident, become essentially the leaders of their own lives, live life on their terms. So me personally, I trained MMA from the age of 15 to 22. I started MMA training as a result of more or less my mother passing away when I was 14. It was very traumatic, and I was looking for some stability and I was looking for some structure in my life when life felt very chaotic. So in that time, between 15 and 22, I had 2 MMA fights and I won them both. It was great. I often say my most spiritually significant moment of my life, even to this day, was winning my second MMA fight. I'd fully triumphed over what was essentially a lifetime of fear, but that's kind of for another video almost. But anyway, one thing I noticed at the end of sort of age 22, around that sort of time, I discovered drugs, I discovered festivals, I discovered basically being a full-blown hippie, okay? So I dived fully and deeply into that world, becoming a hippie. I stopped training MMA completely, and it wasn't until I got into a relationship that I started to realize that this was a full-blown mistake. You see, the thing is, I, throughout my entire life, had very strong nice guy tendencies. I had very strong people-pleasing tendencies. I had a real trouble communicating myself assertively and authentically and the rest of it. I didn't know this, and it turns out that my martial arts training was actually giving me a kind of counterbalance to this. But when I removed martial arts training completely and went full-blown hippie mode, I essentially lost contact with that healthy masculine energy completely. I wasn't even spending as much time around men anymore. I was living in London at the time, and I had shitloads of female friends and everything like that. And it was an enjoyable time, but then I got into a relationship with a woman and I could not assert myself at all. I couldn't stand up for myself. I had trouble leading the relationship in any meaningful way. I wasn't communicating myself assertively, and I was being very, very passive. I was kind of just letting things go with the flow. This is not a good strategy for a relationship, and it's not a good way to live as a man at all. And I learned this because I was essentially letting her disrespect me more or less constantly, both in public and in private. This, as you can imagine, crippled her respect for me. And here's the thing. When a person's respect for you plummets, if you're in a relationship, so does their attraction. Her attraction will die soon after her respect for you plummets as well. And eventually she cheated on me and left me for somebody else. This experience was very painful, and it was the pain of that experience that got me to reflect, and it was essentially that kicked off my nice guy syndrome recovery. My nice guy syndrome recovery plan basically included a bunch of different things: integrating healthy assertive communication, performing shadow work on my father wound, my mother wound, my past conditioning, my past emotional conditioning, doing the deep healing work on myself. It involved surrounding myself with male connections. It involved distancing myself from female validation intentionally, and a big part of all this involved martial arts training. But let me now dive into, just in a really easy sort of tidbit based list, four of the reasons why martial arts training was essential in my nice guy recovery journey. So the first reason why nice guys should absolutely be doing martial arts is that it builds resilience and discipline. See, the thing is, one of the things that's a very painful truth to realize, mate, and it's going to trigger you probably if I say this, but it needs to be said, a lot of nice guys are wimps. I was a wimp, right? A lot of nice guys are wimps, which means we avoid conflict, we avoid discomfort, we avoid challenge. We basically distract ourselves and avoid any source of emotional tension, okay? Martial arts training involves stepping into tension on purpose, okay? In the build up to a fight or a competition, you're going to face a lot of fear. You're going to have to embrace it and walk through it, not around it, because you can't escape it. When you're in training, you're getting put through your paces. You're pushing the boundary of what you're physically capable of doing. You're going to face a lot of physical pain. You're going to face the emotional rejection of wanting to go training in the first place. If you say, I'm going to train 5 times a week, by session number 4 or 5 of that week, maybe, you're going to be like, I'd rather not. I'd rather do something else. I'd rather play video games. But now you're being challenged to step into that and not avoid it. This is building resilience and discipline that translates into other areas of your life. The second reason is that you release shame around strength, power, and dominance. A lot of men are taught from a young age that these things need to be hidden. These things are inherently dangerous. Like, there's no nuance in this messaging. It's usually just A or B. It's like, it's all bad. Get rid of all of it. You hear that, like that Gillette advert that was very famous, came out years ago, seeing 2 boys kind of grappling at a barbecue, and the whole messaging around that advert was like, oh, men saying that, oh, boys will be boys, let them grapple is toxic. It's like, no, I actually agree with what the men were doing in that advert, right? Boys were grappling. It's like, yeah, sure. Let them find their own power. Let them discover their own physical boundaries and their own capabilities. Okay. You show me a man who is not connected to his internal strength and his capacities, right? His capacity for aggression. I will show you a man who is so deeply repressed that he's actually more dangerous than a man who has integrated his strength, knows his darkness, knows what he's capable of, and he chooses not to do that. You've heard that before, right? A good man is not a man who is harmless, like a rabbit, right? That's not a good man. That's a man who could not assert himself even if he wanted to. A good man is a man who knows he's capable of chaos, right? He's capable of being a monster, and he chooses to not use it, or he chooses when to use it, okay? He has it under control, okay? There's a monster in me, absolutely. When I was in my second MMA fight, I was punching the guy on the floor, right? I pinned him on the floor and I was punching his face. And out of nowhere, I was growling as I was doing that because I enjoyed it, right? There's a part of me that loved it. I was punching him in the face, and a part of me was like, yes, I love this. Punch, keep going, right? That's what I'm talking about when I say there's a monster in you, in all of us, okay? And hiding yourself from that doesn't do anyone a service. That's actually more dangerous. And the third reason, I believe, it's very important for a man to connect with that monster energy. Sounds like an energy drink, ignore that. Connect with what Robert Moore, the sort of mythopoetic masculinity movement, called the inner wild man, okay? 2 of the deepest sources of repression that occur, and actually Sigmund Freud clocked onto this as well, are a man's aggression and a man's sexuality, okay? Men who are so deep in nice guy syndrome repress their aggression and their sexuality, the 2 deepest things. Well, Robert Moore, the mythopoetic movement, described aggression and sexuality as the 2 sort of pillars of the inner wild man, that in their view, modern men have completely lost touch with. That means being grounded to the earth, connection to nature. That also means being connected to your own body in a deep way. Martial arts training is one of the channels of many, right? One of the many ones that are used that connect a man with his vitality, his vigor, his inner wild man, his inner savage. If I start working with a man who comes to me for nice guy syndrome, I have a man who is stuck in his head and completely disconnected from his body. He doesn't even know how he feels. He has been dissociated emotionally from his own body, from his own soma, his own emotions, his own physicality for his entire life. Okay, that's why I recommend doing martial arts, because it gets you in touch with all of that stuff that's pre-language, that's fully embodied. And the fourth reason is you form authentic male friendships. See, there's something very interesting that happens, is when you go to martial arts class, when you go to Muay Thai, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever it is, you're in a male-dominated environment, and you're putting yourselves through physical challenge together in the service of the same sort of goal. You're all there to get better, more or less, right? That's kind of the rule of the game. But when you do that, you start understanding what it means to form male friendships, okay? If you consistently go to BJJ, you consistently go to Muay Thai or whatever, you will make male friends. You absolutely will. Unless you just hide in a corner and don't speak to anyone permanently for like a year, which is kind of strange to do. You'll almost incidentally make male friendships. One of the key problems in modern society is that men are disconnected from other men. Simple as that. You'll start realizing, especially if you're a man who craves, to an unhealthy degree, female validation and female approval, you will learn that it's not actually female approval that your soul is seeking, it's male connection. Okay? When a man is starved of male connection, he will seek the loving embrace, psycho-spiritually, of the mother, which manifests as women, right, in the world. I just want women to like me because I don't know myself and I'm alone and scared, right? That's basically what modern man is. So go to martial arts class, go to MMA or whatever, form male friendships, and you will realize how you've just been surviving without it, not truly thriving. So I am in Rome until Thursday, right, next Thursday. And then when I return, I'm going to actually be going to Muay Thai. I'm going to be going to a company in Leeds, UK, called Bad Company Muay Thai with Liam Harrison, who's one of the best Muay Thai fighters to ever come out of the UK. I'm going to train there for 12 weeks, and I'm going to go after that to Thailand, where I'm going to fight probably a bunch of fights with a Thai local, because I've made a bet with a group of friends of like 5,000, or it might be 10,000 at this point, that I will go to Thailand, fight a Thai local and win. So Lord help me on that one. So let this be your call to action, mate. Give martial arts a go as part of your nice guy recovery plan. You will not regret it. And if you're interested in working with me one-to-one privately over the course of 12 weeks to completely overcome your nice guy syndrome, people-pleasing behaviors, and become the confident, authentic leader other people respect, a man who respects himself, then click the link in the pinned comment down below, book a call, and I'll see you and speak to you privately. Take care, mate. Have a good day. Stay courageous.